Hi everyone, today I want to share a cute little candy box that I made today using the More Than Chocolate stamp set. This is a really fun new stamp set that's in the brand new annual catalog. There are 28 pieces, makes all these cute little different chocolates. It's really adorable. And I like the sayings a lot. This one says, I love you more than chocolate. All you need is chocolate. Hope things get better for you soon. Chocolate makes everything better. I couldn't agree more. There's also this not for actual consumption. It's kind of a funny little stamp. So I decided that what's better for chocolate than a little heart box. So I made a little heart-shaped box using the Sweet and Sassy Framelit collection. So I'll show you how to make it. I'm going to also show you the inside. I put the little chocolate stamps in there. Now what I'm also going to do is put some Hershey nuggets in here. It's a little too short for Hershey Kisses, and I had some Hershey nuggets and my children ate them. So the video does not have any Hershey nuggets, but you can get about 4 in here, 4 little Hershey nuggets. You could also do maybe Rolos for some circle. You could do some Rolos and nuggets to get a variety of shapes. Anyway, look through your candy aisle. You'll find some fun little chocolates to put in there. All right, now the box is a little bit time consuming. Well, it's not too time consuming, but it's going to get your fingers gluey. But it's fun and it's a really cute little box, and so I hope you like it. Let's get started. So you're going to need 5 hearts. This is just the way I thought that it works best. Someone else might come up with another way to make this cute box, but oops, I got an inky. That'll be the inside. That'll be covered up. Okay, so you need 2 of the very largest heart shape. Now there's 2 different shapes of hearts. There's this really curvaceous, I bet this is the sassy one, sweet and sassy, and then this more, I don't know, vintage Valentine's Day shape is the sweet. So I went with this shape because it matches this stamp, and it's meant to cut it out. There is a size to cut that stamp out. So I used the 2 largest sizes of the more traditional shaped heart, and you need 2 of the very largest and 3 of the smaller. So you can cut those out, and then you need some strips of cardstock. Now this is powder pink, which is a brand new color for In Colors this year, and it's really pretty. It's not quite Pink Pirouette, it's not quite Blushing Bride. It's a little bit in the middle. It's kind of got a dusty color. This reminds me of my daughter's actual ballet uniform. Powder pink, very cute. So I'm using that, and for this strip you need the whole 11-inch side. So you're going to get a full sheet of cardstock. I cut one already, but I want to show you how to cut a second one. I found that it was easiest to first cut it. You want to score, and I used this side. See how this cutting has numbers on both sides? When I cut small skinny strips, I think it's easier to use this side. So you only want to score 1/4 of an inch. So you put it on that 1/4 inch line and use your scoring blade. And then the whole piece is 3/4 of an inch. So just move it over to the 3/4 of an inch line and go ahead and cut. And that'll give you this perfect. It's easier to do the score first and then cut, because when you're trying to score such a skinny piece, it's difficult. So once you have this piece, you're going to take your paper snips and cut all down the edge, these little tabs. And I will speed up the video so you don't have to watch me do this. Got them all cut, and now you're going to take your piece of cardstock and fold it in half. Okay, so you've got that. Now leave aside your 2 larger hearts for a bit, and you're going to take one of your small ones. Now you need to fold these flat. I also took the bone folder and just went around it just to kind of start that bending process. There. Okay, here is where your gluey fingers are going to come in. Now I used a silicone mat just so I can press on it and not have to have the glue adhere. So you start with a small one. I'll use my dirty one. It's going to get covered, so it's okay. And some liquid glue. And you're going to start at the center. So you want to go on top, and that fold line is the crease, like this. So you can see that I've got that fold line in where the heart points down. And you have to hold it for a second just to make sure that it's stuck down, which is why I didn't put glue all the way around, because you want to really make sure to start here at this point. And now I'll go ahead and add the glue on one side. So to make the box close, on this small heart, you notice I'm going on top of the heart. On the next one, we're going to wrap on the underside to kind of pushes it out just a little bit, and that way the lid is slightly larger than the bottom so that it can open and close. Hopefully that makes sense. So like I said, this is going to get your fingers a little inky or sticky, and you have to work slowly. I'll speed up the video while I do this process, but how I did it is every once in a while I come down and I just use my bone folder and kind of hold it for a minute, especially on this rounded edge. Just hold it. Just kind of let it go. Okay, you don't have to hold it that long. It actually sets up pretty quickly. So now I'm going to work on this side. Oh wait, first, pick a side that you're going to snip off. So I pick that side. Okay. Okay, now when you get to the end, you're going to go ahead and fold it. And you can cut off those tabs from this side. And then glue it in and hold it for a minute. Not really a minute, just a couple seconds. Okay, so there's your bottom piece. Now it's kind of messy from the glue. That's all going to get covered up, so it's not a big deal. Now my hands are kind of gluey, so I will rinse them off with a wet wipe. Just right back. Okay. Now you can use a different type of adhesive if you want. Sometimes there's those really thin strips like tear tape. I felt that it was hard to get around those corners and that the liquid glue is just a little more easy to manipulate, which is why I went with it. Okay, so now we're going to kind of do the same thing, only this time instead of adhering the tabs to the inside, we're going to go around the outside. So it's going like this, and our tabs going here. Just like before, you're going to start at the crease, but see now it's going on the underside. So one goes on the top, one goes on the bottom, and that's just so that they're slightly different sizes. You want one to be just a little bit bigger than the other. And you have to hold this just till it gets going. So just so you know it's stuck down before you go around. how sticky you get. This is not for those who don't like glue. The nice thing about doing it on the bottom side is that you can put it against this and press down on the silicone mat, and it won't stick to the silicone mat, which is nice. You can go like that. Alright, so let's cut this one. So the bottom one is easier to do, or the top one is easier to do than the bottom one. Okay, so you're going to cut the tabs off there. And fold on where they meet and give it a nice point, and then bring it inside. So hold it for a minute. It grabs pretty quickly. Alright, and there's your lid. Okay, I'm going to go get the glue off my hands yet again. Okay, let's get going on the rest. So, for this one, you're going to want to cover that with a lid, and that is going to, the one where the tabs are on the underside is the slightly larger box, so that's going to be your lid. And I wanted to emboss on this first before gluing it onto this. And you're going to also take an extra one of these and the larger. See how so it's got a slight lip to it? And that just makes it, you know, kind of pretty, because, you know, I don't know if you've hopefully you've received candy before, and there's a little lip on the top and bottom of the heart-shaped boxes. So this is a simple one. Just glue it straight down. Now you can see those little tabs now, but we're going to cover that up with our chocolates. So now I cut an extra of this smaller one. If you wanted to place it down, just it kind of helps keep these little tabs in place. It's not super important, but while I'm working, it just makes it a little bit stronger. So that's why there's a third of this one. Alright, we're going to let that dry. Now let's work on our pretty lid. So for the lid, I am going to emboss in some gold. It's so pretty and it makes it look even more special. So I'm taking some Versamark and inking up that heart stamp. And I just love that these are photopolymer, because there's so many bits and pieces to the stamp, and it's nice to know exactly where they're going. Okay, now the gold embossing powder comes on next. I use a little scrap to catch the powder. I like to give the paper a good flick. Whoop! I did not mean to do it that close to the paper. Now I didn't get enough right there, so I'm going to go and add a little bit more. Okay, now if you wanted to be extra careful, you can get a little brush. If you have a little paintbrush in your, whoops, paintbrush, you can clean up some of your little edges, but I think that's really good. And now I'm going to use the heat tool to heat that up, but first I'm going to clean up my mess, so I'm going to... Okay, I'm clean. I love embossing, it's always magic. So I'm going to turn on my heat tool. I'll silence the sound so you don't have to hear the loudness. Okay, there's our lid. Press down on this one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and put this right on top. All right, I'm going to leave it over here with a block on top to kind of press it down while I work. Now let's get into the wonderful little box of chocolates. Okay, I'm going to use the same heart stamp, and this time I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in powder pink. Okay, there are a lot of chocolates in this stamp set, and I want to point out that some of them are hollow, and those are the wrappers. See how they have this little ruffled edge? So I'm going to do all the wrappers in Early Espresso, a real dark color. I think that most resembles the little wrappers that you get in a box of chocolate. So I'm going to do all those first. So there's a circle, a square, a rectangle, and a triangle, and we're just going to kind of move them around on the box. So I'm going to do the corners first. They kind of seem to be the hardest. And I'll do square on this side, so they're different. And the triangles are nice to kind of fill in that odd little gap. Okay, and you're just going to fill in your square, your heart. So I'm going to speed up while I do this part, and then we'll talk about the insides of the chocolates in a bit. I think it would be really easy to overthink this and try to get it perfect, and I don't think it's that important. It looks really cute in a random way, and you're going to add some chocolates on top of this, and it's just really sweet anyway, so don't overthink it. I might have gotten too close to the edges, and don't worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off these stamps and put them away, and then we're going to work on the insides of the chocolates. Okay, now I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and fill the chocolates in with chocolate chip, of course. So I'm going to show you really quickly. There's different little squiggles and icing kind of patterns, and some of them I left white and just used the powder pink as if it was a white chocolate candy. So go ahead and mix and match and do whatever you like. I'm going to speed it up while I do this so you don't have to watch all the little stamping. Okay, once you've got all your little candies stamped, you can actually, if you want, use your powder pink marker. And if you wanted to make some of the icing different, for example, I decided that this one might want to have some pink, a little pink on top of the chocolate. We've got two tones. And maybe I'll do this one as well. Kind of add some different fun colors. You can add some pink polka dots on top of that one. So just play around with it. I didn't do a super great job with my stamping, to be honest, but I was trying to be quick for the video. So now the reason why we're not using the framelit is we have to cut this one out. The framelit, because we put the tab piece on top, it's just a slightly bit too small to lay this down. So by stamping it and cutting around, and it's a simple cut because it's an easy shape, it'll fit nicely inside of the heart, and it'll cover up those tabs, and it'll cover up my smudge. There, very cute. Okay. Now all we have left is the really sweet little lid. So I used a scrap piece of paper. I have a big bag of scraps, and I like to use that whenever I'm doing these little banners. Once again, I'm using the Versamark. Versamark is like a sticky pad. It's going to hold that embossing powder. And once again, we're going to heat this. I used my triple banner punch. This is 1 inch, so it fits perfectly inside here. And I just put it in here. Now I like to look at the back, make sure I don't accidentally cut off any letters. little long. And then these little flowers in the back are so cute, and they add such a nice detail. They are from the Jar of Love stamp set and the Everyday Jars framelits. I love this stamp set. It's got these little mason jars and all these different things you could put in it. It's so cute. And we are using this larger flower and a stem and some accent pieces. After this video, I have to do a major block cleaning. All my blocks are so filthy. Okay, so I'm using powder pink again. And this is a fun little stamp set because you can you go on top of the stamps with another one, so it kind of gives two tones. I'm going to stamp full strength. This is a real pale color. You can actually do a situation where you would stamp off and then stamp onto your paper, but this stamp is already quite pale and it works fine full strength with another full strength on top of it. So even though it's the same color, because you're doing two layers, it's going to be a little deeper. See what I mean about filthy blocks, man. Okay, and then the little tiny little accent, like was that a stamen on the inside? There we go. Now for the stem, I went with Lemon Lime Twist, which is also an in color, so I thought it'd be fun to use just in colors today. Now there is a die set that's made to go with it, and look how many dies you get in there. So we need this one and this one, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those off camera. I have to cut it through 3 times, and this video is long enough, so I'm going to do that off camera and I'll be back. Okay, I am back and we're going to assemble the lid. Okay, so I started out by cutting out these flowers, and I'm just using some glue dots to put them down. And there's one I didn't like as much. Let's see, this one. So I'm going to put that one down first. I didn't stamp it quite in the center. Okay, and this pretty one will cover it up. Okay, now these stems are not as long as I want them to be, so if I had put them right underneath it, they wouldn't be quite so long. So that's okay because it's going to be hidden by the banner here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Now they do curve slightly, so I wanted them not to all be curving in the same direction. I know it's kind of picky. There, that's cute. Okay, now the I Love You banner, I wanted to kind of puff up a little bit on one side and then have it kind of, so it's kind of, you know, a little curved. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so to keep it puffed up here, I added some dimensionals. And because this is such a deep little valley, I actually doubled them. But then for this side, I just used a glue dot. And then we're going to put this like that. And that way it's kind of puffy here, and it curves, and that's really sweet. Okay, now here's the bottom of my lid. or the bottom of my box, top of my box. They barely go together, so you have to, the first time you put it together, you're gonna, there, see, pretty quickly. Now I finished off the edge here with this really pretty ribbon. It's brand new, finely woven ribbon, and it's powder pink, of course. And you can add that as some trim around the side of the box. It just kind of gives it a nice, elegant side, don't you think? And I just used my tear tape and went around the box. And when you get to this little valley here, just take your bone folder and press it in. Oops, look what I did. All right, don't do what I did there. There. It's so hard to do things on video, I have to say. My first sample at home, when I did it, I didn't have anywhere near these little oopsies. Okay. It's perfectly sized for this box. I just added a little tiny line of glue underneath the end. There. Okay, my box is done, and you can fit your little Hershey nuggets in there and give that to someone you love. Isn't that cute? I sure hope you like it. I know the video is long, but I think it's worth it. It's a really sweet little box, and it's great for Valentine's Day or anniversary, Mother's Day, anytime you want to give somebody a little gift. There you go. So I hope you like my little box, and I hope you give it a try. Thanks so much for watching my really long video. You can stop by my blog, bethspapercuts.com, to shop for any of these products, and I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.